Let me now trace this code very quickly, and then we should say we should draw a closure on all the tutorial video series. Okay, let me now do this quickly here. Again, how do you trace that using a debugger, right? Let me show you once more quickly. Let me now remove the breakpoint over here. Let me maximize it. Let me now go to, put a breakpoint at the first line over here for test 02, and then let me launch the debugger. Okay, if I do that here, let me just double click on that. Okay, so you can see we are here. We are now right before executing this line here. If I say step over, now you can see we got BB. If you expand BB right now, you can see imp. Imp is actually itself a hash table. At the moment, there's no key, no value, right? Let's now see a little bit further. Step over, step over. You can see now, we got BD1, BD2, BD3, right? So now let's add the first entry into the birthday book hash table. If I say step over now, you can see right now, you actually got Alan. You can think about Alan is the string key. And this birthday here is actually the value. And in hash table, is simply just say equals. That means maps to. Okay, you can let me just try to see if there's anything else we can see. You can that's pretty useful because if you expand the object structure for the imp, you can see the first entry at index 0 has the key being Alan and also the value being some birthday with May and also 21st. You can see May and 21st. You can see conceptually it's very similar to the array list. It's just that in the case of the array list implementation, we had to create the birthday book entry class ourselves. Whereas in the case of hash table, it's directly supported, right? All right, so now you will know how to really step over and also step into yourself, which I showed to you already in the case of array list. Okay, I can stop here for the debugger. Okay, let me go back to the Java perspective. And then let me now go to the iPad and trace very quickly together with you to see how things should be visualized. Okay, so now that'll be version number 2 for hash table. Okay, let's do that quickly. So number 1, we want to create a birthday book v2 over here for BB, right? So you can see this is BB. So what's going to happen is BB is actually going to store the address of some birthday book v2 objects, right? Let's now do that. So now this will be birthday book version number 2. And how many attributes do we have? If you go back here, birthday book v2, only one attribute, which is the imp, and that's the hash table, right? So that will be the imp, which is private, and then that one there is going to point to the starting point for a hash table. And if you look at the tutorial videos, the way to visualize a hash table is like a 2-column table. So you can think about initially simply empty. So we actually put the headers only for the 2 columns. So one will be for the keys, the other one for the values. One for the keys, the other one for the values. And specifically for this example here, when we say the keys, we really mean the names. And when we say values, we really meant the birthdays. Okay, that's what we need. All right, let's now try to do some checks over here quickly. So now if I say bb.getSize, right? There's simply no entry. There's simply no row over here. So that will just be 0. So that one's easy. And then we're still going to create BD1, BD2, BD3. Let's do that very quickly. But I can just draw that without saying too much. We have seen very similar drawing for BD1, 2, 3 as before, right? Let's do that. Let me simply try to do, let me just imagine what's going to happen here. Okay, that's good. So let me say this. I'm going to say BD 1, 2, 3. BD1 here. So birthday. And then we got a month and also we got a day. The month and the day. And let me copy this, and we need 3 objects for this. Very similar to what we did earlier, right? So 1, 2, and also 3 over here. And of course, this should be BD2, and this should be BD3. BD2, and also BD3. BD1 will be 5 and 21, May 21st. BD2 will be 8 11, August 11, BD3 will be October 15th, 10 and 15, right? So that's about these objects over here, right? We have done. Let me just make these 3 birthday objects a little bit smaller, because I know that I just need to create another birthday object in a moment, right? Okay, let me just make them like this more. Okay, that should be still visible to you, just like that. Okay, and then I would need another birthday object in just a moment. Let me copy that. Okay, good. So let's now go on. How do we add a birthday? So here you can see that we try to add birthday here, add birthday, and add birthday. We need to add 4 entries into the birthday book, right? Into the hash table. So we got Alan, we got Mark, we got Tom, we got Jim, and then Alan's entry will be associated with BD1, and then BD2, BD3, and etc. Right? That's what we'll do. Let's do one by one over here. So first of all, let's do this particular entry. What about for Alan and BD1? Each entry in the hash table will correspond to a row. Okay. What we're going to do is, let's say for the first one, so we're going to create a first row over here. So this row is going to have the key and the value. And the key is simply just going to be Alan, and the value will be BD1. So this will be Alan, the name, and also the value will be BD1. Let me try to draw it this way over here, right? It's still pointing to BD1 because I'm going to have a few rows coming, a few more rows coming. And then let me try to draw the next 2 rows maybe together. You can see we got Mark pointing to BD2, and also Tom also pointing to BD2, right? So these are 2 separate entries, but they have the same birthday objects, BD2. So what's going to happen is, let's see over here. So we got second row over here, and then we got third row over here. Okay, so these are the 2 rows. So one for Mark and the other one for Jim. Okay, I'll try to keep my diagram as tidy as possible. So we got Mark and Tom, right? Mark and Tom. You can see for the same problem we're trying to solve for the birthday book, but the visualization of the object structure is completely different, compared with before. But both of them are important. Okay. All right, and then we're gonna have BD2 and BD2, right? So that means Mark's birthday here is going to point to BD2 over here. Similarly, Tom's birthday is also going to point to BD2 over here. All right, so hopefully you're still following, right? It's not too bad. So far, it's not too messy yet. All right, and then finally, we're going to get another record over here, which will be Jim. Jim is nothing special, so I can still use, let me use maybe purple over here. So we got Jim and also BD3, right? So how do we draw that entry? So Jim and then BD3. So what we'll do is we're going to create one more row over here. Okay, over here. And then, yeah, this could be potentially a little bit confusing over here. So I would suggest I try to fix this arrow here, this pointer over here a little bit, okay, so that you don't really get confused. Okay, we still got here, okay, so let me just try to put it a little bit here. Yeah, it's really hard to get around actually. Okay, but just can see the color, right? You can see the pointer is really from here. Okay, let's now try to do the row for Jim, right? You can see the row over here is going to be for Jim, right? And then that one there, the name will be Jim. And what about the birthday? The birthday will be BD3. So it's going to be pointing to BD3. BD3 over here, right? You can see that. So basically every value over here stores the address of some birthday object. So that's why I'm using the pointer over here. And then every key over here also store the address of some string. Right, that's what I'm doing. And in this case, even though you can see this arrow here also go across Jim's row, but it's really just I cannot really avoid it when I draw. But just remember that. So this is only the pointer pointing to just the BD, just pointing to this particular BD2, right? Whereas for this one here, it's only pointing to BD3, right? Just be careful. All right, so now what will be the size for the table? BB.getSize, which should be how many entries, how many rows do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4. We got 4. So it should be 4. Okay, and then how do we get a birthday? So now getting the birthday is very easy. So now in order for me to get a birthday, let me use pink. If I want to get a birthday for Jim, I simply just locate which row. So each the key value in the hash table can uniquely identify a single row. That's why it's called the search key. So now if I try to get the row for Jim, so it's basically this particular row over here. It is this particular row over here. Okay, you know what? Let me use a highlighter. Is this particular row over here? You can see here, right? That's what I'm highlighting. So this is the row, and that row over here. So what will be the birthday? So the birthday will be simply pointing to this particular birthday, which would be October and 15, right? So now if you check it, it's going to be October and 15. That's going to be returned, and it's going to be assigned to Jim birthday, right? Similar to how we did it before when we trace it for array list. So you can think about Jim birthday is simply just pointing to this particular object over here, right? So we got lots of aliasing over here, which is very natural for OOP. All right, so now we just need to add another birthday book entry. So we got Suyang over here, and also we got birthday, right? Okay, I'm using a different color, which might be maybe clearer to show. What about this color here? Let's say we got Suyang, and also we got birthday, which will be May 21st, right? So now I just running out of space, but let me try my best. We just need another row over here, just another one. You can see it's different color. One more row, and then this row here, the name is Suyang. Okay, so it's really pointing to a new string object over here, which is Suyang, and that it's field over here for the value is actually going to point to some new dates, new birthday. So let me just paste the object I got from before, right? Let me put it here first. So you can see that one is an anonymous object without a name. So let me just clear the name over here. It doesn't have a name. And what's the so for this particular birthday objects, it's going to be May 21st, right? It's going to be May and then 21st. Let me move this object maybe to here, so it'll be easier for me to draw. Okay, so now for Suyang, it's actually going to be, so the value over here is now going to point to this particular birthday, right? May 21st. So far, how many entries have we got? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. We got 5 of them, right? And we got how many birthday objects have we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, right? It's really important for you to keep track. So now if we try to get a size for the birthday book, it's going to be 5, as I just mentioned. It's just going to be 5. Let's now try to remove some birthday, right? If you want to remove some birthday, it's also very easy, conceptually easy. So you can see here, we want to remove the birthday for Alan over here, right? So now if I want to remove that, so Alan is going corresponding to this particular row, right? So what I will do is I'll simply just cross it out. So that means this row is actually gone, right? That's how I remove it. So now after this, how many rows have I got left? 1, 2, 3, and 4. So this is why over here, so the bb.getSize will just be remaining to be 4. And if I try to get birthday of Alan, is Alan still a valid key in the row? Not anymore, because this row has been deleted. So we only got Mark, Tom, Jim, and also Suyang. That's all we got left. So that's why this particular birthday inquiry will just be null. All right, so finally, let's take a look at the reminder over here quickly, right? So bb.remind, if let's remind again ourselves about how we implement the remind. If you go to the remind method over here, it's very similar to how we did it for the array list version number 1. So we just need some temporary array. Eventually we'll return the result array of the right size, right? And also we got some local counter, right? Let me tell you very quickly about it. So for this particular one here, you can see we are trying to remind for August 11th. August 11th. And let's now try to do a little bit of look ahead over here. August 11, which birthday object has August 11? Only this one here, right? How many objects do we have? Birthday. You can see, let me just do quickly. You can see now we got entry number 1, which got its birthday actually pointing to this particular object over here. Entry number 2, which I follow the pointer over here, it also points to this particular birthday object. Entry number 3 actually got its birthday object over here. And also entry number 4 got its birthday over here, right? So these are the 3, right? You can think about this one here is no longer there because Alan's the row of Alan has been deleted already. So I'm just going to highlight very quickly. So these are the 3 birthday objects that will be iterated over. So that's why in the beginning we are simply going to create the temp array of size 3 initially. So let me simply put the temp array over here. Let's say the temp. Let me say let's say temp. The temporary array is going to be of size 3. Okay, 0, 1, and 2. Right? We actually got 3 birthdays over here. Okay, so this might suggest, from my previous illustration for the array list, actually this one here, it should be only 3 slots in the array. So this one shouldn't be there. Okay, it was a minor mistake. I just realized. Okay, hopefully that wouldn't compromise your understanding too much. Okay, so the temporary array is only going to maximum number of birthday that might be collected will be 1, 2, and 3. Oh, you know what? I beg your pardon. I'm not sure why I'm doing this. Okay, so this is actually okay. So I think the temporary array should be of size 4. That's actually not wrong, because when we actually created this temporary array, look at this. It's going to be corresponding to the size of the hash table rather than how many birthday objects that we actually have, right? So it should be, how many entries do we have? We got 1, 2, 3, 4. So it should be of size 4. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. Okay, it should be 0, 1, 2, 3, and then we know that August 11 over here will only match this particular birthday objects over here. Only this one here. Only this one will be matched, right? So that means we're actually going to have which entries actually got this particular matching birthday, right? You can see if I follow the pointer over here, you can see it's basically both Mark over here actually got his birthday being August 11. We'll see in one of the iteration in the loop. I'm not going to trace the loop in detail. And also Mark also got his birthday also pointing to August 11, right? So that means these are the 2 names we should really retrieve, right? You can see these are the 2 names. We can simply say name. You can see name is part of the key set. And what will be the key set? You can think about the key set. We'll simply just go over this these names over here: Mark, Tom, Jim, and Suyam, one by one. That's what we will do. Okay, and then we're just going to actually do that quickly. So it'll be Mark and Tom, right? So that means temp is actually going to point to both Mark and Tom. And let me just be a little bit more careful about the details. Remember, in the JUnit test, somehow the order the order for the names to be returned happens to be Tom and Mark. So that's why I said that's why we got to be careful. For the case of a hash table, the order of the key set, the order of the key values in the key set is actually not predictable. It's completely up to the implementation that's hidden from you. So I would say in this case, we'll just simply follow what we saw in the JUnit test. So now what we're gonna draw is, so 0 should be pointing to Tom, and also 1 should be pointing to Mark. Okay, can I just draw that in a slightly less confusing way? How about this? Right, you can see that, right? So 0 and 1. Okay, and then once we got this, we have to, and also after this, the count, the local count, will just be 2. Will just be 2, and then we have to actually create this particular result array to be returned of size count, right? So that'll be the final step. Let me finish that for completeness. Okay, and then we just need another array over here called result over here of size corresponding to the count, which will be 0 and 1. And then 0 and 1 should really correspond. You can see 0 over here should copy whatever address that's actually stored in 0 over here, which is pointing to Tom and then Mark, right? So now this one here should really point to 0, should really pointing to Tom, and 1 should be pointing to Mark over here. So this will be the eventual result we're gonna return. The result array over here, and then it's simply pointing to these two names, Tom and also Mark, right? So Tom and Mark. So there's some typo I didn't fix from the screenshots. So this should be Tom and also Mark. If you see your JUnit test, you will see that. So this should be Tom, and this should be Mark. Okay, let's just verify that quickly. Right, you can see it's the, if you go back to the JUnit test, it's actually Tom and also Mark. All right. And then to really trace this one here, it will be very similar. So now, out of all the birthday objects over here, do we have any entry that actually points to some birthday which will match November 13th? We don't. So it turns out we also return an empty array in this case for the final reminder. Pretty much similar to the array list example. All right, so that's about the complete tracing for both Debugger and also on the paper. We are now done with our 12 weeks of Java tutorials. We have covered a lot, and I hope you enjoy the journey learning with me. Happy programming in Java, and all the best to you. Take care.